What the heck is going on with Tesla's Supercharger team? Some articles are saying the whole entire team has been fired. Some are saying 80%, some are saying 90%. What's going on? And then you got BP coming out and saying, hey man, I'm gonna buy this entire, a lot of Supercharger sites because Tesla doesn't want to do it anymore. What is going on? In this video, we're gonna dive deep because I've been trying to make this video for a week now, but I just want to get more information and seeing what is going on with this supercharging, firing, layoff, all this madness, trying to figure out a good strong case. Well, not a case, but figure out what is the full story so I can come and present to you guys. In this video, I'm going to be telling you guys what's really going on with Tesla Supercharger, being laid off and all that kind of stuff, as well as what to expect with the Superchargers in the future. So without further ado, guys, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you guys haven't already. And guys, if you guys want to support me even further, consider becoming a channel member. It's only like less than $2 a month. It's a great way of supporting me. If not, just smash that like button and subscribe. That's more than enough. Let's go. And I know, guys, I apologize. I really do. I know you guys are waiting for me to make that Supercharger analysis chart, how much they make per Supercharger, all that kind of stuff. That is getting a little complex, but the next video, that's what's going to be. So that's going to be very exciting. So what is going on with Tesla laying off? Is it 90%, 80%, 100%? Who knows at this point? I think it's around 90% because 500 employees just for a Supercharger team. That's a lot of employees. But why did Elon do this? Why did, Elon said, you know what, we have to lay off these guys. We just went through 12% of cuts. More than 10% of workforce was cut because we're transitioning to a whole new company, to the next phase of the growth. We're leaning out, cutting off that excess fat. And then after that, we get this news that Tesla is removing or laying off the Supercharger team, which I think is around 90%. Why though? Why is Tesla doing that, knowing that, they're pretty much a monopoly? I mean, it is one of their competitive advantage when it comes to, the competition. You get the Superchargers, the full self-driving, the energy. Some will call it a moat. That could also be the case as well, but it's a heavy competitive advantage. So in order to dig deep and to fully understand, we have to read what Elon wrote in this tweet or in this X literally a day or two after the layoff happened. He said here that Tesla still plans to grow the Supercharger network just at a slower pace for new locations and more focused on 100% uptime and expansion of existing locations. Now that's very interesting. Why did Elon or Tesla team decide to go like, you know what, let's just chill out on the new locations? We're not going to stop. We're going to continue doing the new locations, but let's just slow that down a little bit and, focus on the current ones, the existing ones. Let's, if there's 10, connectors there in that one station, make it 15, make it 20, double it, triple it. So why is Tesla doing this, and why are they focusing on the, on new locations? Well, in my opinion, I sat down and I thought hard about this, and the only thing that I could come up with is that Tesla believes that the EV competition, since everyone's taking a back seat, for example, Ford and GM and all these other guys, they're shifting to a hybrid rather than EVs because they lose a lot of money when they, make EVs and when they sell them. They lose a lot of money, so they're focusing on hybrid. So Tesla's like, okay, if these guys are slowing down on EVs, we don't need to make new locations so aggressively. Which is quite funny because this is the year where all other automakers that do produce EVs are going to start using Tesla Supercharger network. And now all of a sudden, you're going to slow down the pace of doing new locations. It's just, it's hilarious. It's quite funny. But it looks like the logic of how Tesla is going forward with this, it looks like they know that they have enough chargers or stations in developed places. I mean, if you look at the United States, that's a lot of chargers. That's a crazy amount of chargers. You can literally drive all over North America if you really want to. That's how, well developed it is at least in North America. So knowing that, Tesla knows that the other EVs are going to be using Tesla Supercharger, and also knowing that other EVs are going to be using Tesla Supercharger, I think for them it's more smart and more, I guess you can say, effective to make more connectors at existing sites so it doesn't get too crowded. I think this is the logic behind this. And I think that's why Tesla is increasing connectors at existing sites. It only makes sense. I'm not too sure if that's even the real reason, but comment down below if you guys agree or disagree, or what are your thoughts on this. But we're not done here yet. BP smells the blood and comes out of nowhere and says, oh, Tesla,
You laid off pretty much your entire Supercharger team. Who's gonna make all these Superchargers now? You know what? We want to buy the existing supercharging sites from you. We see the weakness. We see you can't do it all. We can do it though. You already know we are gas stations. We're everywhere. And this supercharging thing seems to be the future, is going to be the future. So let us, buy it from you and let us do the thing.
Well, here's newsflash. Here's the thing. Tesla can't handle this all on their own. They've been handling this all of their own. And they're going to continue increasing this and handling all this all on their own. What's hilarious about BP is that last year they came to Tesla and they bought $100 million worth of superchargers to be private label for them. So make the chargers for us and, we'll pay you a royalty, because I think this is how Tesla's going to roll. We'll pay you a royalty. Don't have Tesla name on the charger. Have us, BP Pulse or whatever the heck the name was that they want to use. So BP is well aware that superchargers are going to be in need in 5, 10, 15, 20 years time. And gas stations are going to slowly subside away because we're going to have more EVs on the road. They don't need to be, filling up at a gas station. Instead, they're going to be charging up at a supercharger station. Majority of all vehicles in North America, at least, and in first developed countries in a decade time. So BP is smart. They know what's going on, and they're trying to see if they can, based on this article, and personally I don't think this is the truthful thing what BP wants to do, but if this is the intention, well then BP is trying to take advantage of weakness, and Tesla is not stupid. And to confirm this, Elon came out and said this. Just to reiterate, Tesla will spend over $500 million expanding our supercharger network to create thousands of new chargers this year. That's just on new sites and expansions, not counting operation costs, which are much higher. So, there you have it. There you have it. Elon did say at a slower pace, but spending $500 million for new chargers, that's only for new sites and expansions. To me, nothing has really changed, really. And what's crazy about this is that to me, it looks like Tesla is building all these new superchargers this year after laying off 90% of the supercharger team. That's insane. That's insane. If 90% of the whole team was the fat, hey man, the savings in Q2 is going to be flipping crazy. That's all I'm going to say. And shout out to Pierre here saying that cost per charger is $45,000. So if they could build 10,000 chargers or about 1,000 stations with 10 chargers. And we know that the average charger the average stations that Tesla builds in, there's an average of 9 chargers. That's crazy. That's $500 million right there if you do the math right here. So really, nothing has changed again. Nothing really has changed for Tesla. It's more leaner now. And if things really didn't change as much, because things are still going according to plan when it comes to the supercharger team and stuff like that, I think what's going on with BP is that they're saying that, hey man, look, if you were planning to build here as a supercharger and you own the land and release it, I'll take it over. And I'll buy from you and I will, put a supercharger there, just like how I did last year. I think this is the intention. But the mainstream media, they like to twist into things and stuff like that. This makes more sense to me. This idea of buying already leased land or bought land from Tesla that it's empty but no superchargers, and then buying it out so BP can buy more superchargers from Tesla to put it there so they can manage it in a way. I think this makes more sense. So hold on a minute. If Tesla can do all this with 10% of the staff, because they, laid off 90% of them, then what was the other 90% doing? Because they still seem to be on track to do what they were doing last year, but with only 10% of the team or so. I think, in my opinion, it looks like the 90% that was laid off, they were a scouting team, meaning that they were scouting for new locations, new real estates, all these new places to do. And that takes a lot of, work, a lot of time to find the right places, to find the right landlords, to find the right land to buy or rent or lease or whatever it is. I think this was the 90% of the team. So what it looks like we're seeing is that this year, we're seeing those efforts being filled by, Tesla building out the infrastructure in those lands, all that places that Tesla's team found. Because again, these take a lot of time to find a place, to talk to the landlord or buy the real estate, close the real estate, I mean, I'm into real estate back in Toronto. It takes months sometimes to close. If you're buying the land, if you're leasing it, it'll take some time as well, but not as long, and so on and so forth. I think this is what's going on this year. They have the land already from the previous year or last year, and now they're just building on that, whatever the plan is of $500 million. But next year, though, if they don't have this team, or the year after that, probably they'll have a difficulty to build new superchargers in there. But once that comes, Tesla can just rehire. Just simple as that. I'm talking about rehiring. Tesla rehires a supercharger executive after laying him off. So it looks like Tesla is looking at what they did and said, okay, no, we kind of need some of these people, not all of them, some of these people, to continue not being left behind, because they did lay off pretty aggressively. I mean, 90% of the force. I mean, if that's even the right number, I'm not even too sure if 90% is the force. Some are saying 100%. So, fact check me in the comments, letting me know if it was 90% of the force that they fired, was it 50% of the force, 60%, but based on other, sources, they're saying 90%, so I'm going just off that. But the good news is that Tesla is rehiring some of the executives that they fired off the Supercharger team exclusively, so that is, good news. And Tesla has done this many times in the past, where they fired a whole entire team, and then they realized that, okay, no, we kind of need this person, that person, this person, which is, I guess it's a way of filtering it out. But it's a weird, interesting way of doing it. But that's what's going on with Tesla's Supercharger team. It's a roller coaster. It's crazy, but that's what's going on. Now, what should you expect from now on going forward for the Superchargers? Well, let's take a look at Q1 2024 earnings, because they do mention the Supercharger stations and connectors here on a quarterly basis, which is really helpful. In Q1, we have 6,249 stations built, which is 297 new stations from Q4 of 2023. And Supercharger connectors went from a little less than 55,000 to 57,500 connectors. What I see happening, not too much of a change this year in 2025, but in 2024. But in 2025, however, I do expect connectors to increase drastically, but stations to, slow down a little bit. If Elon said, or Tesla's goal now is to focus more on just connectors. So I do see this number, the 26% here, continuing to go lower, but maybe the connectors staying the same. That's what I do expect, at least for not this year, but maybe from Q4 and onwards, I do expect to see that. Because guys, you guys have to remember, the Tesla is only available out of 174 countries, I think there is in the world. They're only available in 44, 45. I think there's more countries. I think it's closer to 200, which is not even 25% if it's out of 200. So they have a lot of places to grow and a lot of untapped market that they haven't entered yet. I mean, all of South America they haven't entered. The Middle East here, I'm here in the Middle East. They're only here in 3 countries. Right? Then you get all of Africa. A lot of the Asian countries are not in. A lot of the European countries, they're not in, although they are expanding there as well aggressively now. But there's a lot of countries that Tesla has not entered. And how Tesla does it when they enter a country, they don't just enter a country and just sell their vehicles. When they enter a country, they got to make the infrastructure. They got to make the supercharger, the service center, and all the things to make an electric car feasible, to make it scalable, to make it convenient for everyone or anyone who drives an electric car. They can actually operate it. That's how Tesla does things when they enter a country. I don't know that they're only available in 44, 45 countries out of 190 or however many countries there are. It's a lot of work to do for Tesla. And the more reason to focus more on existing plants and existing stations rather than make new ones when it's not really that necessary at this point of time. So that's what is going on with Tesla Superchargers and what you guys should be expecting going forward for the next 1, 2, 3 years. And it's not a bad thing, guys. Don't think that as EV. No, it's not. It's not a bad thing. They're just, increasing more connectors in existing places, which is important when it comes to other EVs joining the network and avoiding crowdness. The worst thing you want to do is get into a supercharger station and it's packed and you can't charge. So that's what Tesla's trying to avoid until they expand to new countries or new areas. They will continue to do this more aggressively. In the next video, I'm going to be showing you guys how much revenue and profits, and it was a complex model that Supercharger does. So I'm excited about that. Make sure you guys subscribe. And here's the thing, guys. Tesla is morphing into a whole new company. The proof is in the pudding. The data points are there. Everything is there. That Tesla is completely changing to a whole new company. I made a video about it right here. Guys, get your I Bought the Dip t-shirt. Because in 5-10 years from now, we're going to be saying I bought the dip. Of course, not financial advice. That's what I'm doing. I'm all in on Tesla stock. But I'm pretty sure in 10 years' time, that's what all we're going to say. Subscribe, and I shall see you guys in the next video. See ya.